Hello everyone, I am Chantel Grimaldo from BSED English 4A. My topic for today is writing a play, and under this topic, I will discuss the definition of playwriting, the process of writing, the definition of drama, as well as the types and elements of drama. So before we start, at the end of the lesson, you are expected to define playwriting and explain its purpose. Second is identify the various types of drama and its characteristics. And third, appreciate the importance of playwriting as a creative form of storytelling. So first, let us define what is playwriting. So playwriting is the art of creating a story that is meant to be performed on stage. They are much more similar like a screenwriter, but the only difference is that the playwriting are for the theater, while screenwriters they write script for films and movies. So the one who compose play scripts for a characters to be performed live on the audience, the one who creates the settings, the plots, the whole story in the play are called playwrights. So again, they compose play scripts for a character. They also build emotions to the characters. So they create the whole scenario for a character to play in front of the audience. So, writing a play, it gives writers the idea to express their emotions, their thoughts meaningfully in the use of imaginative creation. Because in playwriting, it gives us the glimpse of what is being on stage and how can the writers explain and connect the emotions to the readers. So now let's proceed on the process of writing. So the first one is you have to determine the story. So by determining the story, you have to come up with various ideas through brainstorming. And this includes choosing a theme. Because every play, it begins with that idea. And that idea becomes the theme which serves as the backbone of the story. So a theme, it may include about love, justice, betrayal, about family or ambition. And one example is from William Shakespeare's known play, The Romeo and Juliet. It centers on the power of love, but still face the consequences of the hatred between the families. Second, so after you determine the story, now you have to determine the main character. So you have to identify the protagonist in the story. What are their goals, traits, and of course the backstory. You have to include everything that will um, show to the audience what is the main character or what is the definition of the main character. So after that, of course, the story would not be completed without the villain. So you have to craft a compelling antagonist or the villain in the story that will bring conflict to the main character. Well, not just on the main character, but on the whole story or the whole characters. Then third is each characters, whether it is a protagonist, antagonist, or side characters like round, fixed, or plot characters, they should have goals, strength, and weaknesses in the story. Third is outline your idea. So there are many structures, different structures that the playwrights use whenever they write a script for a play. So some write one act play, two act play, but the most common structure is the five act play. So it starts with exposition where they begin with introducing the uh, the characters and the events in the story, then followed by rising action where the problem begins to unfold. Then the most intense part or the most futile part of the story, which is the climax. Then down to falling action where the climax plays out. Then last is the denouement where the story could end happily or tragically. Fourth, so after you outline your idea, you have to input stage directions. It is one of the important when you are writing or when the playwrights are writing a story. So you have to include when will the actor enters and when will they exit the stage. That is the important part. So the playwrights they should know the different parts of the stage So the actors are aware of the blockings. And aside from that, they should add any physical actions necessary to the storyline or character development. And if the story is longer than a one-act play, you should add the playwrights would add some intermission. So the audience will have to take a break, stretch their legs, or maybe drink some water. Fifth is write your acts. So the main storytelling tool in drama is of course dialogue. And a good dialogue should first, it must sound natural and purposeful. It is not redundant to avoid boring to the audience. Second is reveal character personality as the story goes by. Then third is it creates tension or emotional connection, not just on the characters playing on stage, onto the audiences. So they should must build the tension and connection to the audiences as well. So the audience would hook or would take the attention of the actors, of each actors, not just on the protagonist down to the last character, or even if you're just the side character in the story. Six is use a proper formatting. So the play scripts, they have different formatting when they write a script. So they do this to have a look for a professionalism. So the writers, so the script could look a professional in the eyes of the actors or characters once they read the story. So some format, first is they italicize the lines of the story. All lines are all in italicized. Then the scene headings, the name of the characters are all in capitals. The next is after you use or after you proper format um, the script. Seventh is you have to reread and revise the story. So by rereading or revising, you have to jot down any notes, check for inconsistencies, especially the lines on how will the audience or the actor will read each lines, check for plot holes and weak character dialogue. So you have to revise it. And after that, you have to read and edit again the script. So some playwrights, they do commission with their family and friends to read and to provide an honest feedback. So they do this to help improve their script better. And last, after they finalize the script, is they do a table read. So a table read is an organized script reading where all the actors, producers, including the directors, they read everything from the script, from the lines, stage headings, stage directions, before they finalize the script. So now let's proceed on the drama and also the types and elements. But before that, let us define what is drama. And etymologically speaking, drama comes from the Greek word drao, meaning to do and to act. This tells us that drama is all about action. Instead of simply describing the events, drama showed them through live performance. It is often represented by the two masks, which are tragedy and comedy, symbolizing plays that can make the audience laugh and can feel deep emotions. So in short, drama is a type of literature that is meant to be acted out and not just read. And this includes characters who speak through dialogue, actions that show what is happening, and emotions that make the story feel real. And according to Aristotle, it is a poetic composition acted in front of audiences in a theater because drama is a combination of singing, dancing, acting. That's why Aristotle called it a poetic composition, and it helps the audience purge emotions that will help them appreciate the drama industry. So now let's proceed on the types and elements of drama. The first one is the types of drama. Comedy. So comedy, it aims to make people laugh. Its tone is light and it almost always a happy ending. So the comedy, it started with Aristotle in ancient Greece in the 4th century BCE. An example of this is The Simpsons and one of the known play entitled The Noises of. Second is tragedy. So if the comedy is to make us laugh, the atmosphere of it is light, the tragedy will make us feel sad because of the main character's weakness that will defect or causes their downfall. And some ideas of tragedy are murders, pain, deaths, and insanity. So some example of this is Hamlet and the Julius Caesar. Third is tragic comedy. So tragic comedy is a combination of tragedy and comedy, but it emerged a bit later than the tragedy and comedy itself, through Roman dramatist named Plautus. So he was the first person to write a tragic comedy entitled The Merchant of Venice. So tragic comedy, a story would have a sad scenes, but still could have a happy ending. So that is how the story goes in tragic comedy. So it could have a happy ending or a sad plot and vice versa. Fourth is melodrama. So melodrama, everything is hyperbolized because the characters portrays an exaggeration of emotions. So usually themes are simple without any unpredictable plot twist, and mostly the themes are love stories with charming heroes, scary villains, and beautiful heroines. And here in the Philippines, it would be similar with the teleseries that we once watched when we were a kid, or maybe when we are still watching today. Fifth is farce. So farce is kind of a tough tier types of drama that is similar with comedy. But farce uses absorbed forms of comedy, also known as the dark humor. It has wide misunderstandings, chaotic environment. It's really wild. That is farce. Like you could hide under the bed while everything is chaotic, or everything is messy around the in outside, while you're hidden under to and scared finding out that you are actually under the bed. So that is actually a farce. And plot is usually illogical, and some occurring events are even impossible. And an example of this is Waiting for Godot by Olive Higgins. Six is opera. So opera is a staged drama entirely set to music. So it is accompanied with orchestral instruments. An example of this is The Flute by Mozart. Last in types of drama is musical. So musical, it has a combination of songs, dialogues, spoken dialogue rather, and acting. So the difference between opera and musical is that an opera, you will see an orchestral instruments playing at the background, or it can be surrounded by the actors are surrounded by the orchestral accompaniment. So that is opera. While musical, it has music, but it also have a spoken dialogue that is meant to deliver the lines well when they are acting. So that are the types of drama. So we have comedy, tragedy, tragicomedy, farce, melodrama, opera, and musical. And last with this topic is the elements of drama. Okay, so the message of the play, or the message of the story, comes from the theme of the play. So the theme is the central idea of a story. It can be the moral lesson. It answers the question, what is the story about? And then an example of this is Romeo and Juliet's brutal and overpowering romantic love. Second, after theme is of course plot. So plot is how the story is being narrated. It is the sequence of events in the story, and also the connection between the events and characters in the story. So again, there are several plot structures that the playwrights use when they are writing, and A common plot structure is the five plot structures. So again, it starts with exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution, or denouement. Third is characters. So characters, they're the one who keeps the environment alive. They bring different set of beliefs and principles that they want to deliver on the stage. So protagonist is the main characters that represent the theme of the play, while villains are the character that conflicts with the protagonist. So they are interwoven with the plot of the drama because they're the ones who bring the characters back to life and feel the environment or situation real. Next is dialogue. So dialogue is the way the way when the characters, each characters connects to the story. They give lines to the story. It is how the story is narrated to the audiences through the interactions. It is the interactions between the play's characters, which is in the form of dialogue. Next is setting. So setting is where the time and place of the story is set. It is also included the historical and social context of a play, where it is also defined by the time and place where the story is set. Then performance. So performance is the way how the actors portray the role assigned to them. So many actors actually they got the same um uh characters. Like for example in Kim in the Malay Miserable. So Lea Salonga got that actor or character once, and there are several actors also who got the Kim and Les Miserables. But for most of the people, Lea Salonga stood out because she did really well in that play. So this is how the characters portray the personality. So this is how the audience determine who remained iconic in playing that character, who gave justice to that character, which will taken by, again by the audience. Next is music. So music is what we hear in the background. The sound effects, the rhythm, and how the characters or the dialogues were spoken by the characters, those are music. So it should go well with the play's theme. Of course, it should be accurate with the play. Then we have the visual element. So visual element, if the music is what we hear, the visual element is what we see in the stage. So the costumes, the visual scenery, the effects, the um, the different scenes, the colors that they use. This might also identify the theme in the story. Like if it is dark, of course, the story could have about tragedy, right? If it's colorful, then it could be about light tone or atmosphere. Then it can be comedy or also connected with melodrama. So visual element is also known as the spectacle in the story. So that ends my report for today. Thank you.